Testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Here we are. So, it's been a hot minute since I've streamed. How's everyone doing tonight? Good evening. Hello. My setup is a little scuffed here, as it always is, but I tried to make it as streamlined as possible. So, let me turn on the visuals. Good evening. Hey gang, it's Steffi here. It's definitely not Golden puppeting her for your amusement. Nuh-uh. Is this profile pic good? Yeah? Yeah, I would say analog horror is just the evolution of creepypastas. Internet horror has kind of remained consistent in one way or another. It's just creepypastas really fell out of style, which is why we're reading some tonight. Basically, as a trip down memory lane. And I might as well get started here. Let me. Okay. Tonight's first story is Eyeless Jack. Now, fair warning for this one. It's very stupid. All right, let me get it pulled up here on my end. All right. Oh, let me get chat up too. Sorry, more scuffed difficulties here. All right. That should be good. All right. Eyeless Jack. Is my audio coming in, by the way? Oh yeah, it is. Don't worry. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. I gotta get... No, it's not. Camera up here. Okay. Now, Eyeless Jack. Hello, my name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena, but after that thing visited me, I believe in that paranormal trash now. We're missing something. I know what we're missing. That's right, Kevin MacLeod music. Back to the story. A week after I moved in with my brother, Edwin, who made the mimic, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other after 10 years, so I was excited too. I soon fell asleep after I moved in, as one does after a long days of work. After that 1 week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside at 1 in the morning. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I told Edwin about it, and he agreed. Agreed that it was a raccoon? Okay. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump, as if something entered my room. I darted up and looked around my bed, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror, and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek. After I rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking. But then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold, like a reptile, ooh. He lifted up my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. Not sure. Okay, how did you not notice that? Whatever. I started in his eyes, my eyes widening. That's the story's typo, not mine. And I saw okay. There we are. You somehow lost your left kidney last night. We don't know how, though. Sorry, Mitch, my doctor told me. Whoops, you lost your kidney. Sorry about that. Come back later. The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and a dark blue mask with no nose or mouth staring at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. They used the wrong its, so I filled that for them. I grabbed the camera nearby on a mantle and took a picture. After the picture took, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest to get to my lungs. Which you just instinctively knew it was trying to do. Okay. I stopped it by kicking it in the face. As I ran out of my room, I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock. I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor entered the room, the same one who treated me before. I have some good news and bad news, Mitch, my doctor started. The good news is that you had minor injuries, and your parents are going to pick you up. I sighed with relief. The bad news is that your brother has been killed by something. Sorry. It really is just as sudden as that, huh? My parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering my room, I was scared, but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body and something small lying next to it. I picked up the small thing and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse. As one does. I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my stolen, half-eaten kidney with some black substance on it. The end. Wasn't that a nice story? Wasn't that really not goofy at all? The kidney eater. Let me catch up on chat. This happened a couple times to my buddy Eric. I hope Eric's okay. Contender for Manos. I'm just wondering how. Okay, so the eyeless guy, eyeless Jack, killed his friend and then left his kidney behind. He didn't finish it. This is a fucking stingy monster. It doesn't even finish what it started. I'm gonna turn down the music. I feel like it's a bit overpowering. It is me, eyeless Jack. Bleh. Alright, on to the next story. I'm gonna read like 3 or 4. I have 3 short ones and 1 long one. The next story is Doom. Colon, or dash. Doom dash. Repercussion of evil. Let me get that in frame. I was typing all that with my controllers. That's why that was so slow. This is a very short one. Let me get the camera over here. John Stalvern waited. The lights above him blinked and sparked out of the air. There were demons in the base. He didn't see them, but had expected them for years. His warning to Colonel Josen was not listened to, and now it was too late. Far too late for now, anyway. John was a space marine for 14 years. When he was young, he watched the spaceships and he said to Dad, "I want to be on the ships, Daddy." Dad said, "No, you will be killed by demons." There was a time when he believed him. Then he got older and he stopped. But now in the space station base of the UAC, he knew there were demons. "This is Josen," the radio crackered. "You must fight the demons." So John got at his plasma rifle and he blew up the wall. "He is going to kill us," said the demons. "I will shoot at him," said the cyber demon, and he fired the rocket missile. John plasmaed at him and he tried to blow him up, but then the ceiling fell and they were trapped and not able to kill. "No, I must kill the demons," he shouted. The radio said, "No, John. You are the demons." And then John was a zombie. The end. Wasn't that a scary story? Wasn't that a terrifying story that rocked you to your bones? Shit like this is where the "and then a skeleton popped out" line, like, this is where that meme starts, you know, with like shitty ending. I think this was a joke. I think this was a troll pasta. It's awesome. Now do Mandor car. Oh, I wish I pulled that up before this. That's a good one. The next story is... Let me just fucking type this on my keyboard. AVGN ET Atari 2600. This is for all you AVGN heads out there. The music's really loud for me, but it's probably fine on your end. I don't know. But yeah, this is a very scary one. There's not much of a story here, and I feel compelled to type this anyway. I was looking around on YouTube to see the angry video game nerd. Okay, let me read this again. I was looking around on YouTube to see if the AVGN, parentheses, the angry video game nerd, like I should have mentioned to avoid confusion, end parentheses, had made any new episodes. The only one on the James Nintendo Nerd channel was Ghosts and Goblins. For whatever reason, he had been releasing brand new ones on YouTube, as opposed to YouTube releasing them on game trailers. So I watched it. It was the same kind of funny madness you'd expect to see in a nerd episode. Not perfect, but considering he was working on the Monster Madness and putting together footage for the AVGN movie trailer and doing other numerous projects, I'm not complaining. I was just happy to see a nerd episode. I was going to type a comment on the video, and then I saw a person's username titled James NN Nintendo Nerd. I guess the double N there I'm guessing the double N in there was since the original name was taken. The comment read E.T. and that was all. So I clicked on the name out of curiosity. It took me... But hang on. Is the mic buggy? Is it unlistenable? Is it really bad? I hope not. I worked so hard. I worked so hard for this stream to happen. Anyways, so I clicked on the name out of curiosity. It took me to a channel, much like James's channel. There was one video titled AVGN ET Atari 2600. The video had 0 views and had been uploaded today. I watched it just to be the first viewer. It's a bit choppy. That's really annoying. Fuck. Let me see if I can... I'm gonna turn off the noise suppression. And we'll see if that works. Okay, where was I? The video had 0 views and had been uploaded today. I watched it just to be the first viewer. I really wish I hadn't done that. What happened next made me regret ever watching the AVGN. First off, there wasn't any kind of theme song whatsoever. The video just started, showing James looking at the camera sadly. "You all asked for it," he said with a frown. Not the traditional mad frown, just a depressed one. "You sick pieces of filth," he continued again with a frown. I was shocked hearing him say that to his audience, not in a funny way. James then pulled out the tea cart from the box. The camera cut to him putting the game into the Atari. The only kind of editing I saw remotely in that episode. The game started up without him even turning the system on, and he started to play. As he was playing, I swore I could hear slight sobbing in the background. It was like he hated the game on a very personal level. For a split second, a picture flashed on my computer screen. It was just the nerd bent over crying. I quickly pushed print screen. I still have the pic, and I'll show you when I post it. Anyways, James only played the game for about a minute before turning the camera towards him. He had tears in his eyes. Not like he was bawling, just enough that you'd notice it on his face. He held up the camera and began walking around his game like as if it was an episode of Cops. He then found a hammer, like in his Nintendo World Championships episode, and started to break every single one of the systems in game. All the while quietly singing his theme song. After painfully watching him do this, just thinking of all the money he wasted, he went over to his NES that he had ever since he was a child and broke it into pieces. I was almost about to leave when I saw him pick up a gun It was a real gun and not a zapper or anything else. He cocked it, put it to his head, turned the camera towards him, whispered, "I'm done." And then he shot himself. Holy shit. Both James and the camera fell around, and that's where the video ended. I was shocked by what I had seen, and I quickly left the channel and went back to the Ghost and Goblins review to try to forget the whole event. I looked at the comments section about 10 minutes later to find that the video was gone. I even checked the James Nintendo Nerd username. The entire account was gone too, so I don't understand why said person uploaded only to take it off his account all of a sudden. But now I know why James has never done an ET review, and maybe it's best he never does. Well, he went on to make a movie, and it wasn't very good, so maybe this episode was better. Zooey Mama is right. That was the real last episode. AVGN was replaced with a local. Yeah, I'd believe it. Okay. This pasta was written in 2012, for the record. Like, that's how old it is. Okay. Next one. This is the last short one before I move on to the main event of the evening. This next one is Godzilla vs. Talios. That's right, we're getting a Godzilla pasta in here. A Godzilla pasta. Hello, my name is Terry Kaiser. I live in a small one-story house, and I freaking love Godzilla. I'm gonna read every typo here for the record. And my last name just fuels my love for it. But I've always had a nagging interest for the scrapped movies, such as GVAB, Godzilla, Varan, Anguirus, and Baragon, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack. A mouthful, I know. Or Godzilla vs. Red Moon. But anyways, I digress. Most people say the series is rather cheesy, but I have to say that it is anything but cheesy. So my best friend was moving out. His name was Greg Kennedy. He was a good friend of mine. I have a feeling this is like someone's real name, and like they just put it in there. I hope not. I hope I'm not. Whatever. I think he a disorder. I never asked though, out of fear of looking like a rude jerk. That's just the way I think, but the reason I say this is because sometimes had random spasms and twitches, but something disturbing about him was that he would sometimes talk about something very, well, sadistic. But then seconds later, completely dismissed, but overall a good friend. Anyway, my birthday came, and sadly, it was also the time he moved. Yet he came to my house. I asked him what he was doing here, and simply he gave me a VHS labeled Godzilla vs. Talios. And I said, he said, thought you might like. Knew how much you liked Godzilla. Oh, I'm getting some bugs here. Hope that's not showing up. Okay. And left after saying happy birthday. What happened next was sad. The following day, Greg's family got hit in a car crash with a drunk old man. The old man was the only survivor. Oh no. I fell under a depression. My best friend was dead to some drunk old man. And my only reminder of Greg was this, a VHS of a Godzilla film I've never heard of. I knew I'd never get out of this depression just sitting down, so I got my old VHS player and inserted the movie. It started out normal, but the title had the same logo as Godzilla vs. Biollante. Ooh. I thought this was strange, but I proceeded on. But a small feeling in my gut made me flinch. It was me trying to get excited, but I remained depressed anyways. Oh man, you just jumped right into this movie. Anyway, the reason that feeling was made was because the monster fight was about to begin. Godzilla was the same. What is this fucking... Is this Mary... Is this... What is this music right now? Godzilla was the same. It was the Heisei suit, which, one, I don't know, but Dutalios was a giant rat, fish amalgamation, so that was interesting. But what I saw next was disturbing. Godzilla had used atomic breath to cut off part of Dutalios' tail. But one of the things that shocked me the most was there was actually blood. You see, pastas like this don't work because, like, there's blood in Godzilla movies. That just... This is just a fan fiction. You are writing fan fiction and acting like it's super disturbing. I haven't read the rest of it. Let's see. Dutalios did a scream of pain. Not just a modified animal roar or chirp, but a literal scream. If I do a highlight reel of this, I'm gonna put in something there, and it's gonna be funny. Trust me. Godzilla proceeded to kick Dutalios repeatedly, and Godzilla did his iconic roar, but it's edited to where he's literally laughing as if he's enjoying causing pain on this poor, innocent creature. Godzilla finished kicking and, "Oh my god," were my exact words. There was a gash where Godzilla kicked Dutalios. Godzilla proceeded to lunge over and started to eat Dutalios, started whimpering. He, Dutalios, oh my god, he was still alive. Godzilla was eating him alive! I saw tears go down Dutalios' face, or snout. I couldn't even believe what was happening, so I pinched myself to see if I was having some fricked up nightmare. Not... No, I wasn't dreaming. This was real. Godzilla was finished with his meal. He walked. Dutalios kept weeping. Oh dear God, Dutalios, he was going through all this pain, and he was still alive. I heard a familiar screech. It was Biollante. She came to the Dutalios and just held him in place, obviously with some sympathy for the creature. So the absurdity of this is fucking killing me. Godzilla just walks away, and like it's a wrestling match. Biollante tags in and starts consoling him, and starts consoling the little rat guy. Biollante then charged towards Godzilla. The film faded to black and simply ended. This was messed up. Would Toho actually make this? I went on Google and looked Godzilla vs. Dutalios. Surprisingly, I found a link on Wikizilla. And it was an official film, but it was the original draft for Godzilla vs. Biollante scrapped. The end. I don't know about you, I thought that was pretty fucking spooky. That was pretty frickin' spooky. This is really good. Okay. Before I move on to the final thing, I'm gonna take a swig of water. There we go. Okay. On to our final story of the night. And I saved the best for last. That's right. Jeff the Kills You. All right. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. I don't know if that would fit on the byline. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells the story. This music is very loud for me. You're going to see my overlapping body. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anyways. I had a bad dream and woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, and even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed, I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. They weren't regular eyes, no. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair of my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said a simple phrase, but said it in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "I gotta fuck the sleep." I let out a scream, and that's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. Okay, I misread that. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. Oh, he threw it with perfect. He should work for the circus. I think Jeff would do well in the circus. He'd be the knife thrower. The man probably would have finished him off if one of my neighbors hadn't alerted the police. The original version of Jeff has getting scarred from using acid to clean his bath and looks like a cartoon character. This might be the original version. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits that description in this story, please contact your local police department. And just with no transition, no byline or subtitle or anything, here's the actual story. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. I guess this was written when you could just do that, you know? This was written before the housing crisis. Jeff and his brother Liu couldn't complain though. A new, better house, what was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Wow, that was... Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. Let me just move the thing down. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party?" if you hadn't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid. Jeff, said his mother, we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now we're going to that party, and that's final. If he had a nose, he'd be a clown. Sorry, I just read the chat. Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whatever his mom said something, that was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on the bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mom call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast, get ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain. But once again, he dismissed it. It's probably the wind. As he and Liu finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. Holy shit. They both jumped back in surprise. Hey, what the hell? Well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge. Oh, this is the first mini-boss. This is the first mini-boss of the story. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Oh, hang on. I missed a line. The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostate shirt and blue jeans. Well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared, presumably from behind him. You know, like a clown car. You know, they just appeared out of the sky. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is... Jeff and Liu looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. That's the story. I didn't add that. This kid looks like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. That's so mean. And I, said the first kid, Anne Marie. Now for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for a bus fare, if you catch my drift. Liu stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems you must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Liu and took out his wallet. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Liu gestured at him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Where's that next line? Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. I might have taken an edible before this. Oh, and what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He used the focus skill. He's got 15% more evasion. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. He's brandishing a knife, Shia LaBeouf. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed to him, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. This is just Goosebumps shit, you're right. As he fell, he puked all over. Jeff could do nothing but look on in amazement. No, Leo could do nothing but look on in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how'd you... That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they just started running as fast as they could. Scrolling down. They looked back and saw the bus rushing over to... Oh, I'm sorry, they saw the bus driver rushing over. Yeah, the bus isn't sentient. This isn't the magic school bus. It doesn't care about the safety. As Jeff and Liu made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Liu just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. Spooky. It was something fucking spooky. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help but feel happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the rest of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop and how he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "Yeah, it was a fucking wonderful day, what of it?" Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers, his mother looking back at them with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me you attacked 3 kids. That wasn't regular fighting. That was Hokuto Shinken. You should go train in the mountains." "They told me you were stabbed." No, that's not what the line is. "And that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son." Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones that pulled the knives on me and Lou." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his shoulder. We have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no real use. You could say him and Lou were just being attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. I mean, you could dust the knife for fingerprints, see who was holding it first. They couldn't say they weren't fleeing because truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. Jeff needs to start Jeff the Killing People, or else I'll be bored. I'm kind of bored right now. The writer wanted to make a 2000s action horror film, but didn't have the budget. It really reads like an outline for something. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it, since it was him who beat up the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me. I'm too crazy. I'm gonna Jeff the Kill People later." The cop looked at his partner, and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." "Wait," says Lou. They both looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. That's a weird sentence. They pulled out their guns and locked them. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Send that child to boy prison. "Son, just put down the knife," said the officer. Leo held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Leo, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Huh, poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Liu out to the patrol car. I think procedure is supposed to be that both go to the station, whatever. I'm not a cop. I'll never be a cop. "Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop," Jeff's mom said. Jeff watched helplessly as the cops speed off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled up in the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Scrolling down. Son, what is it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained, crying. There is so much of this story left. Instead, Jeff's mom walked his father inside to break the bad... This is, like, so fucking tedious. Let me get him through this paragraph. Blah, blah, blah. Jeff walked back to the house, seeing his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He could see they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no words from Liu at JDC. Juvenile Detention Center, probably. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. "Jeff, it's the day," she said, as she opened up her curtains and let light flood into the room. "What? What's today?" asked Jeff as he stirs awake. "Jeff, it's time for you to kill people," said the mom. "Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after..." There was a long pause. "Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed." Hang on, I lost the chat window. There we go. His mom's in a dress and his father's in a suit. He thought, why would they wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? "Son, is that all you're going to wear?" said Jeff's mom. "Better than wearing too much," he said. His mom pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. "Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression," said his father. Jeff grunted and went back to his room. This is a weird fucking family. "I don't have any fancy clothes," he yelled downstairs. "Just pick out something," called his mother. He looked around in his closet to see what he could call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which would go with this dress pant. This is so fucking He finds a hoodie. He finds a hoodie. That's his thing. That's Jeff the Killer's thing. He wears a hoodie. He finds the hoodie. "You're wearing that?" they both said. His mother looked at her watch. "Oh no, time to change. Let's just go," she said as she herded Jeff and her father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, were... They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, was way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. This is a weird fucking party. "The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go and meet some of them?" said Barbara. Jeff walked outside into a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Is this a cult meeting? Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. "Hey, wanna play?" he said. No, kid, I'm way too old for this stuff." The kid looked at him with a weird puppy dog face. "Okay. That's... what? "Please," said the kid. "Fine," said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off Lou. So he played with the kids for a while, until he heard a noise, a weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards, doing a kickflip, doing the Indy 900, doing the Christ Air at the same time. These are some radical fucking bullies. "Hello, Jeff," he said. "We have some unfinished business." Jeff saw his bruised nose. "I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got your brother sent to juvie." No, this is Jeff saying this. "I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to GDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. "Oh no, I don't go for even, I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today." As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and head-butted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. No one interrupts or guts will fly, they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed him in the shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Jeff started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeb wins. Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Where are we? Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground, Randy repeatedly kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kit. Is this a fucking action movie? Randy picks up a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now we're gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year. You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Jeff is now to his feet. Blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happened. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff, Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Jeff let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs into the wall. A thing of bleach falls on top. It says, I'm not making this up, it says a thing of bleach fell on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. What's so funny? Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny, he said, is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. Excuse me. Vodka isn't flammable. That's great. It's a good detail. I'm glad they chose I'm glad they chose vodka for this. Okay, scrolling. There we go. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. Oh, like Michael at the end of Halloween 2. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs like a fucking Three Stooges bit. Everyone started to scream as they saw Jeff. Now a man on fire dropped to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flames. That's when he passed out. Yeah, I think I skimmed a bit of Sonic.exe before this one to see if I would do that instead, and no, it's a lot more tedious because it's just the same bit repeated 3 times. It's boring. When Jeff woke up, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arms. And when he tried to get up, and it fell out, and a nurse rushed in. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. One of your kidneys was stolen." No, that's not what it says. "I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Liu go." This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbye. The next couple of weeks were those when Jeff was visited by his family. This is a not good sentence. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it. What he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage was covering over his face They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. You're imagining Jeff in a comical full body cast. Anyways, where was I? "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What happened to my face?" Jeff said. He rushed out of the bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. "Jeff," said Liu. "It's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay, Okay, I've never felt more happy. Ha 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 ha. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was... Is the story actually, like... What... Are you fucking... Why is the story, like, going... Do you remember this part that you just read? "Doctor," said Jeff's mom, "is my son all right, in the head?" "Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here, and we'll give him a psychological test." Let me just clear my throat here. I didn't notice we had 39 viewers. Hi. Hello. Let me just read. What could have caused Flameboy to be severely burnt? Hi, hello. Hi, hello. Yeah, I wanted to get a take of that without the mouth covering the hand. Boo! Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of my son is now a Jeff the Killer. Okay, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mom went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror, his face still formed into a crazy smile. "K, mommy, ha ha ha!" His mom took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This is what came in. No, hang on. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room. Oh, some hospitals stitch together clothes that are broken? Broken clothes. I might be a little out of it. Jeff's mom led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Later that night, Jeff's mom woke up to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see who it was. Then she looked into the bathroom. Then when she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrifying sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. "Jeff, what the fuck are you doing?" asked his mom. Jeff looked over to his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mom noticed his eyes, ringed in black. I'm noticing that there's no end to, like, the quotation. So the part where it says Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black, yeah, that's something Jeff said. "Jeff, your eyes." His eyes were seemingly never closing. "I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burnt out the eyelids so I could see myself forever. My new face." Jeff's mother started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. "What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?" That was not a good sentence. That was a terrible sentence, and I'm not going to repeat it. "Yes, son," she said. "Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face." He's calling her Mommy. She's calling her husband Daddy. Like, is everyone like 4? Is everyone in this story 4 years old? She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. "Honey, get the gun." She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Liu woke up, startled by some noise. He hadn't heard anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up, before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Liu. Liu thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. "Shh," Jeff said. "I'm Jeff the Killer, and I'm going to Jeff the kill you!" The end. All right, I'm taking bets. How old do you think the author was? We're not being ageist here. Just, how old do you think the author was? 13, 2, 14. You see, the story, fucking terrible. This story is god-awful. What really cemented its status, I think, is the Photoshop. Like, that picture is so viscerally terrifying if you see it at a young age, like I was when I saw it. Like, the image is this entire story's legacy. Like, it's so viscerally, it's an image. I mean, now when I look at it, it's kind of stupid, but, like, there's a part in the back of my mind that's still, like, reacting to it in a negative way. 10 out of 10 words Jeff the Killer escaped to Africa. 8, 13, 13, 15, 12. How long have I been streaming? I might be able to do one more. Another short one, maybe. Okay, I've been doing this for an hour. Yeah, I'll find like a short one. I am losing my voice a bit. I'm reading this off of the Troll Pasta Wiki for the record. Like I was never reading this from a source that wasn't mocking this a little bit. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Come on. Ah, this one's a classic. Ba-da-ba. I can barely see the keyboard at the angle that I'm doing this. Is Steffi a universal demon? She can be. Okay, so basically it's like this. You're at a friend's house for like the night or whatever, and then you guys are making out on the couch. Yeah. And then like her dad calls on the phone and she says, "No, she likes it more if you use the other hand." Yeah. And you're all like, "Oh, dude, your dad is trying to give me advice on how to I'm not saying that word." And then she's like, "I don't have a dad." Or whatever. But what? Who was phone? Steffi is Dracula, actually. Yeah, there's art to prove it. It'll be posted on Twitter in like a couple days. Shout out Messiah Mizuki. Messiah Suzuki, that's it. Shout out Messiah Suzuki. There's the clean take. I guess I could just read chat for a bit. Yeah, that's how I'll close this out. 10 minutes of Q&A. Steffi eats the bone marrow of the innocent. That's not canon. Don't go repeating that. Do I have a favorite creepypasta? There aren't a lot of good ones, is the thing. I like the, I need to look at a list. I need to look at a list of things, of creepypastas, to see if there's one that I remember liking. When are we getting the Steffi webcomic? when I learn how to draw, like I don't. Why is Steffi and Smiling friends now? I gave them the the broadcast rights to the character. So yeah. Favorite video of this year? I really liked working on the Metal Gear one. The Metal Gear project was my favorite to work on, just because I got to watch a bunch of good movies doing it. Any plans for Halloween? There's a event that a friend is planning that is a whole block of commercials, and it ends with a movie. So I'm looking forward to that. Steffi is like an intergalactic demon who wiped out a planet. I wouldn't go that far. I don't even know what Slendy Bob is. That sounds aggressively Gen Alpha. But yeah, Candle Cove is pretty good. Kaiju Girl Steffi when? That's been drawn. That's been drawn before. You're gonna have to look for it though. Have I seen the version of No End House that has SpongeBob's? No, no, I'm not. I'm not 17. I don't have any knowledge of whatever that is. It's basically Golden SpongeBob, but evil with red eyes and a spatula for a hand. All right. NES Godzilla is the one that everyone like talks about as like one of the better ones, and yeah, it's fine. I like it more for the art and the story than the story itself. Like everyone talks about how it kind of gets stinky at the end, and I agree, but also like everything leading up to that was just like an excuse to do cool pixel art. I don't know. It still had the video game creepypasta trappings. Oh, there was one creepypasta. There was one creepypasta that I read on r/no sleep that was kind of chilling. There was a guy who had a wife, off to a great start now, and eventually she started acting weird. Like he knows her for like years, and then she starts acting strange. I forget the name of it. I know I'm making it sound super fucking generic, but it is it spooked me. Creepypasta idea: Steffi gets hyper realistic blood eyes and kills Golden at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Wait, Tuesday is in like 8 hours. Hmm. I'll look out. Is it My Wife is Stalking Me? Yes, it's that one. If you're wondering why I've been like puppeting my hands around the whole time, it's because I have the chat window right here, and when I move my hand, it moves the chat window. I got it attached to the hand. Roommate is pretty good. Okay, I think I might check that out. Admittedly, I've been out of the loop on modern creepypasta developments. All I know is that fucking like Sonic.exe was in some Friday Night Funkin' mod, and now kids know who he is, and there's like bootleg merchandise of him. I was at a mall. I was at an Asian mall in my town's Asian mall like about a month ago, and there's like a section where they sell like dubious goods, like stuff you'd buy on AliExpress, and like they had Sonic plushies, and I noticed one batch Had black eyes with red pupils. And that's when I knew we were cooked. That's when I knew things were fucked up. That's when I stared into the sun, when I stared into a black hole, and nothing stared back. That's when I knew we were truly alone in the universe. Yeah, Sonic.exe is like popular with the youths now. It moved on from one generation to the next. Does Ultraman the Ultimate Hero count as a creepypasta if you want it to? Well, it's getting to be that time. As in, my voice is getting raspy, so I think I'm gonna call the stream here. Thanks for joining. I wasn't expecting this many viewers for this. I appreciate it. I appreciate that there is still some interest in seeing me goof around on stream. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Have a good rest of your night. Eat your veggies. Stay in school, or don't stay in school if it's not financially viable. You know, shit's kind of difficult now. I get why. But yeah, have a good rest of your day. Bada bing, bada